I now recognize Ms. Bonamici for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much to the witnesses for being here today. I condemn in the strongest possible terms anti-Semitism on college campuses or anywhere. And it is my sincere hope that this committee will work together on real and tangible solutions to address it. We should be hearing from experts who can help the committee determine what the response should be to an increase in anti-Semitism, as well as Islamophobia, racial hostility, and other forms of discrimination and hate speech, and whether there are sufficient resources and tools under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act to keep up with this increase. And it is also my hope that many to exploit this real and very concerning challenge to further political goals or narratives. So to begin, I would like to clarify something with a simple yes or no question for all of the witnesses. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Columbia's Code of Conduct? Mr. Greenwald.
Yes, it does.
Ms. Shipman.
Yes, it does.
Dr. Shafik.
Yes, it does.
And Professor Shizer.
Yes, it does.
Thank you. And my next question is to Dr. Shafik, and then I'll have a question for Professor Shizer. Dr. Shafik, as president of Columbia, what is it like when you hear chants like "by any means necessary" or "Intifada revolution"? And do these chants violate Columbia's rules?
I find those chants incredibly distressing, and I wish profoundly that people would not use them on our campus. I wish that even more after the many, many conversations that I've had with our Jewish students when they tell me how they feel when they hear those words. They find it threatening, they find it frightening, and it's abhorrent and has no place in our community. I think one of the issues that we are actively debating now, and which David Shizer, I hope, as part of the Anti-Semitism Task Force, will help us find solutions, as you've asked for, Congresswoman, is to actually clarify where language crosses the line from protected speech to discriminatory or harassing speech. We've already sent a message to our community when all 17 deans of Columbia University, in a historic message which has never been done before, said that we need to be sensitive about language, and some of those expressions that you have said, river to the sea, intifada, are incredibly hurtful, and we need to be, as a community, be aware that that language is hurtful. So we've already sent a strong signal. I think one of the excellent recommendations of our Anti-Semitism Task Force is that they have said that if you are going to chant, it should only be in a certain place, so people who don't want to hear it are protected from having to hear it.
Thank you. I do want time to follow up with Professor Shizer. Thank you. Professor Shizer, my husband's grandfather also survived pogroms, so it means a lot to my family as well. You heard Dr. Shafik's answer. We know that you are one of the co-leaders of Dr. Shafik's Anti-Semitism Task Force, as well as the former law school dean. So will you please explain the First Amendment considerations behind Columbia's current policies?
So the chants we are hearing, some of them are absolutely repugnant and offensive, and let's be honest about that. As we approach what to do, we have to remember 3 principles, and the first is free speech matters, protected speech. We don't want to suppress points of view. And the second point is we don't just have free speech, we have free speech responsibilities. The fact that I can speak doesn't mean, Congresswoman, that I could shout you down or prevent your students from hearing you. And third, free speech doesn't extend to harassment and discrimination. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that our students are protected from harassment and discrimination, even as we protect speech.
And on your work on the task force, are you convinced that that work will address that need?
These are very difficult issues, but I am convinced that we are working closely with the university and we will get the job done.
Thank you, and I will yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wilson, you're recognized for 5 minutes.